Hello and welcome to Movie the Needle, a podcast where a pair of amateurs haphazardly dissect classics, mashups, and some films that only one of us likes. I'm Simon, and as usual, I'm joined by my good friend Carl. And for our Mashflix Chill episode today, we are delighted to have with us the Prince of Movie Podcasting, the King of Collaboration, the regal revisionist himself. He asked us to meet him in St. Louis, but we decided to do it remotely instead. It's the one, the only, Mr. Andrew Corns.
Wow, you have outdone yourself with the intro there. Thank you so much.
That's fine.
Unbelievable.
I listened to your episode. Your intros are pretty long and interesting, so I thought I had to put in a little bit of effort. But no, it's all true. We are very much delighted to have you on. Welcome to Movie the Needle and welcome to our Mashflix and Chill. As we do with all of our guests, Andrew, just so we can get people who aren't familiar with you to get to know you a little bit, give us a little bit of a background about your general movie fandom, a little bit about the Revisionist Almanac podcast, what it's all about. What do people need to know?
Well, first off, I have to say thank you for pronouncing it properly. I know I made a terrible decision in naming the podcast way back when, not thinking that everyone was going to have to pronounce it. So it's a little bit of a tongue twister. So thank you for surviving that one. I've been a lifelong movie fan, as you know, anyone that probably does these movie podcasts has been. I've had an education all the way up through, I turned 40 in a couple of weeks. And so my life and passion has been movies. And a couple of years ago, I was like, you know what, let's just exercise some demons and get these things that I've been thinking out of my head and into a podcast space. My wife's been very happy because she doesn't have to listen to me ramble to her all the time. I now have people I can talk to like yourself about these types of things.
Fellow 38-year-olds who realized they were turning 40 soon and realized I need to do something with my life.
This is the midlife crisis, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's either this or triathlons.
This is way easier, right?
Oh yeah,
exactly. Yeah, this you can do whilst drinking as well, which was always a plus point.
Yeah, I mean, delighted to be here. So the podcast, for people who aren't familiar, for the last couple of years, I'm almost closing out season 2. Primarily to this point, I've been focusing on looking at past Academy Award ceremonies, and we basically rewrite history. So I bring a couple of guests with me every month. We look at a specific year, we figure out what did win, what we think should have won, and then there's an interactive element to it. So we will then pose the questions to people online and let them vote for what actually deserved Oscars in any given year. However, I'm about to embark on season 3 of the show, and so I'm evolving the things, and so it will be Oscars and stuff now, which is the perfect tie-in to The Nice Guys. There's going to be a lot of and stuff going on with my show.
Don't say and stuff. No. You had a recent big announcement, which it went under the radar. You didn't even tease it once, I don't think, online. You just dropped it without any kind of warning, which was a bit of a surprise, Andrew.
I didn't hype it at all for months. Not at all. I
was expecting it to be really disappointing and just really low key, just like,
new artwork.
Yeah. New logo.
I had a few people and they were like, if all you're doing is giving me a new sticker option, I'm going to kill you, Andrew. But it was more than that. So I've started a new podcast network I'm part of with another podcast friend of mine, Jen and Sarah over at Movies and Us. And then we are working with a gentleman who's based in Chicago, who's got a movie website, and he's a critic in the Chicago area. So we've kind of pooled all of our resources together. So we've got a whole new network together. So there will be a lot of branching out, helping each other. It's allowed me an infusion of access to directors, producers, opportunities I never thought I would get so early in the podcast game. And so it's been really kind of a win-win already. But that will officially kick off in January when all that stuff happens.
And you're getting former guest on this podcast, Heather, involved as well to provide a bit more European-focused content as well through the Rev Almanac umbrella.
Yeah, that's right. So I unlike you two gentlemen who have each other to kind of bounce things off of, I often find myself talking into the void when I'm doing a lot of my solo content. And I thought I need somebody else out there that I can at least look at and make eye contact with, and they can hear all the crazy things that are happening in my head and ending up on the microphone. So Heather will be joining as my European correspondent starting. She's technically started already, but once we get to January, we'll be doing a lot of top 10 lists together, director rankings, actor rankings, all the award season stuff. She's really tapped into the BAFTAs and everything that's happening over on your guys' side of the pond. So it'll be a lot of fun.
European correspondent. I just want to see all her videos recorded outside in front of a crowd as she's there, live on location. It's Heather. Brilliant. So, Andrew, Letterboxd. You're a user of Letterboxd. I've seen how many films you consume on there. It's a
disgusting habit. I'm not proud of it. It's more of a sickness at this point.
But you're familiar with the Letterboxd top 4. Now, obviously, different people have done this in different ways. I know it is used in different ways. How do you use your Letterboxd top 4? Is it an evolving thing?
Yeah, great question. So I've been on Letterboxd now for like 3 or 4 years. And when I started it, I was like, I'm just going to kind of put in, chisel, cement in those top 4. I've basically had the same 4 favorite movies for 20 years at this point. And I won't even waste your time with what those are, because if you go to my Letterboxd, I have a top 500 list because I am that kind of a sicko where you can see all 500 of my favorite movies. However, I decided I need to evolve my 4 favorites a little bit. And so what I do is every month on the first of the month, I will update it to the 4 best movies I watched the previous month. So it's kind of ever changing. And I don't know if anyone else really does that, but I thought it kind of was something different. So my current 4 favorites on Letterboxd are the things that I watched in October that I enjoyed the most.
And what are they at the moment then?
They are 2003's Park Chan-wook film Old Boy. And if you've seen it, you will be scarred for life because of that film. 1973's Paper Moon by Peter Bogdanovich.
That is on my list. That's one that came up as part of, I think it was maybe of the episode we did with Heather. I was just like, oh, this could really perfectly fit, because it's about a con man and a girl, right? And that's the
it's a father and son, and in real life, Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal, and he's playing sort of a con artist Bible salesman that travels the country and ends up with this little girl.
Still on my list. Okay, cool.
You'll love it.
What else is on your 4?
I've got another South Korean movie, no surprise, 2019's Parasite by Bong Joon-ho, Best Picture winner. I've got a 2019 episode coming up pretty soon, so I was doing some prep for that. And then we just got done with spooky season. I watched a ton of horror movies. I'm a junkie. So I've got 1960s Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock. Can't beat it.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I just watched Snowpiercer for the first time yesterday on the plane back from holiday. And I'm still digesting. I'm still not entirely sure whether I thought it was good or not.
I quite like it. It gets a bit of a kick in, but I quite like it.
I think it had some issues, right? Had some issues on release, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to actually thinking about it when I've actually had some sleep and forming some thoughts properly.
I think there's a bit of a thing that's taken hold now. Is if he's in English, it's like, oh, they're not as good as when he's in Korean. And I think that's become the sort of the trendy opinion of him. Maybe that holds some weight. I haven't seen his entire catalogue, but I quite enjoyed Snowpiercer.
Yeah, Snowpiercer is actually, this might be a hot take, I might prefer Snowpiercer over Parasite. If I'm,
no, I won't go that far.
I know. Hot take.
No, it's good.
The gauntlet's been thrown already.
So it's about this time of the episode, usually, Andrew, that me and Carl, when we're in that room that you can see behind you, Carl digs down to what would be left into the fridge and gets out the beer that we'll be drinking for today as we unveil the ale. But unfortunately, remote.
Listen,
difficult to do.
As ever, I take this seriously. Not that seriously, because I am just back from holiday. And so usually I would try and pair these with the film. But today I've just got the Cape Verdean beer Strella. Maybe I'm just not ready to let go of holiday just yet. But I have got one for me, one for Si, and one for Andrew. Because of that distance, I have no choice but to drink them all on your behalf, which I'll be happy to do. So yeah, there we go. Strella all the way from Cape Verde. Lovely.
Well, do let us know how they taste, Carl, and I hope you choke on it.
I'll be waiting for the care package in the mail.
Yes. Very good. All right, guys, are we ready to get talking about the mashup today?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, so to introduce the mashup that Andrew has brought forward today, it is the Coen Brothers' 1998 buddy comedy, The Big Lebowski, crossed with Dick Donner's 1987 cop drama, Lethal Weapon, which equals Shane Black's 2016 buddy cop comedy, The Nice Guys. start things off. Let's go around the room and give our initial thoughts on the movies being mashed, where it sits on our simple 5-point scale for each of us, and how we thought before recent rewatch it would actually fit into the resultant film as part of the mash. But just as a reminder, and for Andrew, just in case you're not familiar with the simple 5-point scale, we either really like it, you're ambivalent, you don't like it, or you really don't like it. And this is literally what you feel about it. It is not how good the film is. This is pure vibes. So I'm going to kick off with Carl with the Big Lebowski, Coen Brothers. Carl, where's it on your simple 5-point scale? Why and how does it fit?
The Big Lebowski, for me, is a really like. This is a film that I saw at the right time. I would have been about 17 or 18. I watched it with friends. I was a bit too young for it at the cinema, but I would have watched it with friends in somebody's bedroom, quite possibly under the influence of one of the dude's favourite substances. And by the end of the movie, almost certainly under the influence of White Russians. And I think it's one of those movies that really comes alive with friends. It's really rewatchable. I think before, during, and after you're saying the lines to each other, it's created some classic film iconography. The dude, I mean, I think this is more of a thing stateside, but the dude's got his own religion.
Dudism, yes.
Which is, just talk about an impact on pop culture. You can't buy that sort of stuff. White Russians, I've already mentioned. The Jesus, the Gypsy Kings, of course. Who would have thought that Hotel California could have been bettered? But there we go, it has. And I think this is a great shout for the mashup. So there's a plot that is very similar to The Nice Guys in a lot of ways, and not just in terms of idiots being in over their heads, but also in the way that sort of different interested parties just keep showing up to get in their way. They get set up as bagmen with fake money, all of this sort of stuff. And actually, funnily enough, I do share some frustrations with The Nice Guys with The Big Lebowski as well, which I'll talk a bit about in plot, and that sort of the unending silliness of the plot. But regardless of that, it's a great fit. I think these films really share an absurdity that works really well.
And Andrew, over to you. Unleash your thoughts on The Big Lebowski. Now is the floor. The floor is yours.
For those who don't have the luxury of the video screen like the two of you fine gentlemen do right now, I indeed always keep in my podcasting cave the Lebowski sweater. I got this for Christmas a couple years ago from my mom. The dude lives inside of me, gentlemen. He is my spirit animal. This is my favorite comedy of all time. I have watched The Big Lebowski. I cannot tell you how many times I've watched it. There was one point in my life, and I am proud of this. I watched it every single night after work. I poured myself a White Russian. This was prior to kids, prior to being married. I was just enjoying life in my 20s. And I watched this movie for 30 straight days with a White Russian in hand. And it grows in estimation. I actually have friends in my friend group where some days we'll just decide, let's just talk in Lebowskiisms all day. And every single conversation we have through text in any form is just in Lebowski quotes. This movie lives in me, so I really like it, obviously.
Great stuff. And what was the initial thinking for this one then, how it would fit into The Nice Guys for you?
So, I mean, obviously there's they both have the porn industry kind of somewhat weaved into the narrative. And then there's sort of this kind of haziness about both of them. And to your point, Carl, it's the plot is sort of irrelevant to the enjoyment of the movie. And I have the same general nitpicks that I think you gentlemen might have when we get to The Nice Guys. I think the movie kind of trails off a little bit, but I'll save all of my thoughts.
Brilliant. So for me, The Big Lebowski, I do like it. It's not right up there for me, and I think a lot of that has to do with the time of life that I watched it and how I consumed it originally. Unlike you, gentlemen who lived it through the right time of their lives, mine was very much consumed as part of a Coen Brothers box set in my sort of late 20s, getting into 30s, when I was trying to tick off a certain number of type of films that were gaps in the old viewing. I hadn't seen this for years since that original first watch, so I've not seen it quite as many times as you, Andrew. You know, just 300 or so fewer, I would say. So it was great to have an excuse to watch it. I actually already had this on my watch list anyway, as I had a sneaking suspicion it could be one where me and Carl differed in opinion, and therefore be a sort of prime candidate for canon movie the needle episode. Not sure if we're going to quite be able to fit it in, unfortunately, as it is alike. But just as you said, it's great scenes, requotable lines that have truly sort of penetrated the sort of common parlance. It's memorable, hilarious characters throughout, and I could watch parts of this again and again and again, and actually convince myself it's my favorite film. Like if you see clips of it, you should be, oh yeah, brilliant. Oh, amazing, oh, love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. But when you watch it in its entirety and assess it, view it as a whole, as that sort of complete movie, I just think it's that final act that sort of just nudged it down a little bit from a really like to a like for me. In terms of how it fits, first thing comes to mind is that tone, as you've already said, matches very nicely, wacky, zany, surreal. That underlying kind of plot line as well is somewhat related. A couple that are looking for something or exploring, trying to solve something as they go, and hilarity ensues as you go through. So, Carl, Andrew says this is probably the film you've watched most in your life. You would say, Andrew, comfortably?
It's this or Ghostbusters. It's one of the two.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What would you say, Carl, was your film that you've watched the most?
Wow. I know when I first started collecting DVDs, it probably would have been Fight Club. Which honestly had a lot to do with, and this is something that's dying, had a lot to do with how great the extras were for Fight Club. Because there were two or three commentaries on that gave you new perspectives and all of the rest of it. And Fight Club's a good film that lends itself to multiple rewatches anyway. So yeah, I nothing else springs to mind. I probably have to go with Fight Club. Yeah.
Fight Club, just for the record, Fight Club is in my all-time Letterboxd top 4.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Good stuff. Right. Well, I think we'll move on to Lethal Weapon then. We shall see where we fit on there. So same order. So Carl, if you want to kick us off with Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I like this film, so I'm not quite the full really like. It's actually been so long since I've seen it. I have to say, this was effectively a first-time watch for me. I remembered not enough about it. I really enjoyed it, and I've got to thank you, Andrew, for suggesting it as part of this MASH, because it was so refreshing to watch what I am nebulously going to call a proper movie. Don't push me on what I mean by that. You'll either be able to relate to it, or we'll just brush right on past it. But I like the two-gun cool. I think a lot of the action, very late 80s, early 90s. So the emphasis is on that balls out cool. It commits to itself in a sincere way, right? Maybe that's a bit what I'm getting at when I'm saying proper movie. Like it's slightly over the top, but it's committing to that, and it's taking itself seriously. It doesn't need to do that in an ironic manner. It's not winking at its audience. It commits to being brutal at times as well, and actually really sad at others. It's a really well structured piece of cinema, I think. So a nice self-contained story, clearly drawn characters. We know who they are, what their motivations are. It's not too long, and it's a good balance between sort of storytelling and action. So yeah, proper, really, really good. It's not perfect. It might be sincere, but it does get the balance a little off in terms of tone, I think, because some of the moments are quite dark in there. And by the way, how good is Mel Gibson in those scenes where he's talking about offing himself or, nearly doing it? It's a shame he's such a cunt, isn't it? There we go. So yeah, no, really, really enjoyed it. Really, really refreshing. Proper film. By the way, if you insist on taking a contrarian, ironic viewpoint when it comes to naming your favourite Christmas film, and I insist that you shouldn't, but if you do insist, Lethal Weapon is a way better shout than Die Hard. Like, you can actually make a case for Lethal Weapon being an alternative Christmas film, whereas Die Hard is just a silly stretch. But there we go. In terms of the MASH, I mean, it's the buddy elements. This is the archetypal buddy cop comedy. Of course, we see those traits show up in The Nice Guys. It's a great shout.
Cool. Andrew? over to you.
How do I top Mel Gibson as a cunt? I don't know if I can possibly go over the top of that. I share your sentiment on that.
Yeah.
It is such a shame, though, isn't it? When real life characters have to just infringe on what you see on screen.
The guy was a real star. He really was,
and you can
tell.
And
he's a hell of a director too. He knows what he's doing behind the camera. There we go. As far as Lethal Weapon, the obvious connection and the connective tissue here is Shane Black. I mean, he wrote both of them, and there's a certain way about a Shane Black screenplay where the dialogue is very Iron Man 3. I could think of all the different things that Shane Black does. He has a very specific type of way he writes a movie, and if you trace the through line from Lethal Weapon to The Nice Guys, it's obvious they are sort of a mirror looking at each other. I like this movie. I hesitate to say I really like it. I'm kind of on the border of it, but I'm much more in the like category because when I think about Lethal Weapon, I think about the two actors, Gibson and Glover, and I almost never think about the story that's actually happening. To Carl's point, I do miss the era of the 80s when we did get those proper movies, the sort of last action hero era, where it felt like you could go out on a set and blow a bunch of shit up and have a good time, and it doesn't feel like we get those kind of movies anymore. So I like the movie, though it's hard for me to go back and watch it because I realized that Danny Glover is basically the age of the three of us, and he was too old for it at that point, and I just can't with how old he is in the movie.
that is the line that has really penetrated from this one, isn't it? And it's a good old gift to get out on a frequent basis for sure. For me, so I'm similar to you guys. I like it as well. It's been a few years since I had seen this. I kind of went into this rewatch thinking, actually, is this a little bit overrated? But then I actually looked at the ratings, and I think my impression of how it was rated is actually overrated. And in fact, it's not overrated; it's just rated.
Yes, somebody needs a word for that.
But Gibson is great in it. He brings that 80s star power. I thought Glover is a great foil as well, and you've got Gary Busey in there as well, actually being quite restrained by Gary Busey standards. Like, he's clearly a maniac, but actually he's kind of held it in a fair amount there. As you said, Carl, it gets that mix of drama, character, humor, largely right. I think there's a couple of bits maybe not quite, but yeah, I mean, it does deal with some heavy stuff, and I don't know. I just don't know if you'd see this type of movie nowadays, as you'd said. And you've got Dick Donner directing; he knows what he's doing. He can direct a film. I think he directed all the sequels, and you can see how this did spawn the 3 sequels that came after it as well. Those two central characters are just built for sequels that you can put them in different situations and have a lot of fun with them. It's what I kind of see as a really solid Friday night film. I can put this on a Friday night and it's exactly what I need. A couple of beers, few snacks, enjoy it. Don't have to concentrate too much, but there's enough there to keep you fully engaged throughout. In terms of the mashup, I don't think I've got anything really more to add. It's got the Shane Black. It brings that distinct style of writing, as you said there, Andrew. He's got a structure that he's kind of defined or refined over the years, over his filmography. And straight out the gate, it's that mismatched buddy comedy aspect of The Nice Guys. It's right there. You probably could have picked a couple of other Shane Black movies as well, and you could probably argue the toss between them. But this is kind of his original. He's like 23, I think, when he sold this for like $4 million or something crazy.
Ridiculous.
It's just, if this doesn't make you think you're too old for this shit, then that certainly does. But yeah, that's You guys got anything else you wanted to add on Lethal Weapon?
No, I'll be covering 1987 early in my next season of my show, and you might hear some Lethal Weapon commentary on that one.
Okay, so it's time for a deep dive into The Nice Guys. That is the resulting movie from our mashup. So Similar to the last Mashflix and Chill episode with Damon, this is one that we have actually covered earlier on in the year in a Canon Movie the Needle episode, season 4, episode 4. If you're yet to listen to it, do check that out. But let's get to our overall impressions of The Nice Guys, where it sits on a simple 5-point scale. Quick summary before we then will do a deep dive into production, plot, and cast. All right, so The Nice Guys, simple 5-point scale for me. And helpfully in my notes, what I've written is exactly that, me, and not actually written anything down next to it in my structure. So that's good. But The Nice Guys for me is a like for me. This is one that I remember seeing at the cinema when it came out, and it had all the ingredients to be, right up there for me. But there was just something not quite clicking and connecting together. And I think when we did the episode, I kind of knew I didn't dislike it, but there are elements here that don't quite work and click together to make it quite as a complete a film. And it's not my favorite Shane Black movie that pitches an odd couple together and fights in the seedy underworld. I'll definitely come to what that is later and probably mention it way too many times. But Andrew, you were super excited to have an excuse to deep dive into The Nice Guys. So I would therefore assume it's going to be not on the ambivalent to don't like side of things, but let us know where you are and a quick summary of your thoughts.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with my movie opinions, I will be fangirling for the next couple of hours on Ryan Gosling and everything about that wonderful human being. I love Ryan Gosling on screen, off screen. He is a star. I will forever advocate for his talent. I don't think people are aware of how great he is. They haven't seen all of his back catalog and all of his sort of under the radar stuff, but I don't think he's ever put a foot wrong on screen. And that's coming from the position of the first movie I saw with him was The Notebook at a very young age with my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, this is stupid. Why am I watching this? And then very quickly I was like, wait a minute. This guy is amazing. He's got a lot of depth to his character. And so the idea, this was really the awakening moment. And I'm sure we'll unpack it, but 2016, he does this in La La Land and he blows the doors off of sort of being a movie star and all of his skills. I really, really like this movie because of the Ryan Gosling of it all, because of the 70s vibes. I love 70s style movies, and Shane Black really understands that era. And then Russell Crowe this is unfortunately like the very top of the Russell Crowe roller coaster before he starts heading down, and his career has really done nothing over the last 10 years. So this kind of like Lebowski. This is the movie where, to your point, Simon, I don't think it is going to always captivate me for the entire runtime, but it's one of those movies where I like to just throw on in the background. And there's enough moments sprinkled throughout the whole film where I can just kind of casually look up and go, okay, here's the party scene, or here's this scene, or here's that scene. And so this is just one of those comfort movies for me. Throw it on, get to stuff that I like, and I can kind of tune it out and go to my phone if I'm not vibing with it, whatever the moment is.
Brilliant. Yeah, you mentioned some of Gosling's other films there. So looking at Half Nelson and Blue Valentine Drive and stuff. He's not. I guess on first appearance, you could kind of confuse him just to be that leading man, pretty boy kind of thing. I mean, me and Carl have talked about his looks before, how he's a smidge away from being weird looking, but he's very attractive. He's got a very, very distinct look. But in those films, like the content of those movies is quite powerful and interesting stuff. And then, as you say, then he goes on to being this huge movie star with La La Land and First Man and this to a degree, and all the subsequent things that he's then done. So yeah.
What just amazes me with Gosling is, for people who are, again, you're gonna have to listen to me talk about him a lot here. For the people who want to hate on him for what he did in Barbie, and he can do that comedy turn, and then he can just as easily shift on a dime and do The Place Beyond the Pines, where he's playing a really dark character with a lot of stuff inside of him, and so he can pivot at the drop of a dime and do anything that he needs to do on screen. And I think 2016 is kind of the encapsulation of that.
Carl, this is obviously one that we did originally, and you came in with a don't like. I managed to move you up to ambivalent.
Yeah, you did. This is where I become a crushing disappointment to Andrew.
It had to happen.
Yes, that's true. If you listen long enough, it will happen. This is a not quite there for me, which is similar to what you said, Simon. I think, though, my starting point for this is a little lower. It took me a lot of attempts to get through this film. So we actually must thank the podcast and our Movie the Needle episode for forcing me to finally watch it all the way through. I do think it's quite funny, although I suspect I am cooler than a lot of people on that element of it. I do think Gosling is excellent. And actually, as a general note, I don't dislike Gosling, but I'm pretty cool on him, except in comedic roles. I think he's excellent in comedic roles. I just really struggle with the plot of this film. So I do kind of get bored of it. And I think we kicked around on our episode, like, if you love the comedy in this film, if you love the humour in this film, it'd probably carry you through a bit more. But with me coming in a little cooler on that, it's a real struggle when we get to the plot point, which we'll talk more about in plot. But yeah, I wish it was a bit more of a serious noir plot to go with the laughs that are there, and they are there. But yeah, that's where we are. Ambivalent. Yeah, I will say as well, I did enjoy it a touch more this time round. So I watched it again in preparation for this and noticing a couple of extra little bits and pieces. So
maybe you should go full Andrew and just watch it every day for 30 days.
Yeah, like in another 4. Who knows?
In a bath,
like,
wearing full suit.
Yes,
you've got the time on your hands. You can do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
The way you spent your time in your 20s is just nothing like it. I genuinely think now, like, how did I fill the time? I'm just like, well, what did I do to like fill the hours of the day?
Between time and money, I'm like, what happened? Because you're just making it by with kids in your 30s, and you're like, where did all that money and where did all that time go? I have no idea.
Your beer now, Simon?
Oh, brilliant! Enjoy. Thanks. I mean, I am drinking a beer. It's not like I'm going thirsty again, but it is just a Brooklyn lager, so nothing too crazy.
Just for you gentlemen, I went Yorkshire tea. I have a little cup of in the afternoon over here.
That is the only tea you should drink. That is
correct.
True. No, it's definitely good. And where we are has the home of tailors and thing, Betty's Tea Room, which is the one place that people go in Harrogate. Like, is there any other kind of tourist attraction, would you say, Carl, where we live?
Well, there's all the wells and spas and whatnot, but
yeah, sulphur water.
The tea room is the one, isn't it?
Yeah, queues out the door for a fine cup of coffee or cup of tea. It's all right. It's fine. It's a cup of tea. Yeah. It's Yorkshire tea. You can get it
now. Do you guys get really personal with, like, if you put a splash of milk in the tea, or are you?
Well, so tea. I was never a big tea drinker until maybe about 10, 15 years ago, when I realised I had to start drinking it to be polite when I went round people's houses when they offered it to me. And what I realised was I didn't not like tea. I just didn't like tea with milk in. And black tea, quite like black tea. Can get on board. Coffee, similar. Me and Carl, very much black coffee.
I don't like coffee with milk in it at all. No. It's a completely different drink. So I'm a black coffee guy. But I've solved the problem that you had there, Simon, by simply not going around to anyone's house. So I don't drink tea, but it's not a problem because, I don't leave the house, so it's fine.
I'm going to take note of that.
Yeah.
All right, let's crack on with production. Let's deep dive into that. Who wants to kick us off? Andrew, go on. You kick us off with something from production side of things that you want to talk about.
Well, the first thing I just love about this movie from the get is the aesthetic. Shane Black immediately immerses you in the world, even from like the Warner Brothers logo. Like, he's pulling the 1970s logo in. You immediately feel like you're in a time, a place, an era. And I just think he understands that sensibility, much like Tarantino does with like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You don't feel like you're in a set. You feel like you're actually watching something that's happening in the 1970s. So my first real note was just he gets the aesthetic. He knows how to do the right needle drop at the right place and time. So he's got the music down. Just a man who understands on the page how to put you into that world and into that environment right out of the gate.
Yeah, particularly the sort of grimy, decaying LA glamour side of things as well. It's not the 60s anymore. We're very much into the 70s. I thought it was a lovely touch with the Warners thing. As you say, it just really gets you straight away. You're like, all right, I know where we are here. They didn't even need to flash it up really, like the time and location. You could probably have easily figured it out within a few beats of the first scene. The costumes and feel, as you say, of the 70s just really do hit the spot for sure. You mentioned the music there, Andrew. This was something on our episode. I don't think we mentioned really the music too much. You did. Okay. Well, because I was like, I didn't really notice the music overly when I did it for the last watch. This time, really did notice it and really enjoyed it. It's like banger after banger in terms of the music, and then you obviously have the Earth, Wind and Fire recreation at the party as well, which was pretty great because September is a banger. I mean, that's just a brilliant song.
Yeah, I got really similar notes down, and you know that nostalgia he's creating for a place I can't relate to, but somehow you do. It's really effective, and even some of the little touches as well. Like I know that it does serve a slight function, but there are lots of other ways they could have done it. But the Yoo-hoo, like the bottle of milk, right? They could have been anything. There was 100 ways they could have progressed through those scenes and linked those scenes together. But the Yoo-hoo, very specifically, is brilliant. It's like, oh yes, a retro product, amazing. Love that stuff.
Crow is brilliant at that part as well, where he's just like has the apple and just throws the apple behind. Absolutely. The next thing you see him is with a crate of Yoo-hoo.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that would be like a lost reference on you guys. Is Yoo-hoo a UK thing?
No, but I mean, I don't think so, Si, unless you know differently. But again, it's that thing of like, I can't really relate to the place, but you immediately recognize it as this is retro, this is 70s, this is somewhere else. It's really good. I love all that stuff.
The houses all look straight out of the 70s. Obviously, you mentioned the fashion. I do think if this movie comes out like 20 years earlier, that soundtrack ends up being like a number one seller because it's. We lived through the 90s. We know that all those needle drops on one soundtrack, you'd go and buy that CD and you would just listen to that in the car or wherever. And I feel like this soundtrack was designed for 20 years earlier.
I think that's maybe a bit about this film in general, though, isn't it? Because it wasn't success. It wasn't a huge hit at the cinema. It's got a bit of a growing audience once people have seen it streaming or in the various locations. And it's hard to figure out why exactly it didn't sort of echo with people at the time. And you kind of feel if it had been released a couple of decades earlier or 15 years earlier or whatever, it might have grabbed people a bit more. I don't know what it is about this film that particularly didn't resonate when it was in its theatrical release.
I got some MASH similarities, if you like.
Go for it. So
different era, but we're talking about The Big Lebowski. The Big Lebowski nails a lot of the same things. So music is one. I mean, the music in The Big Lebowski is just iconic. I was watching it, and the music starts to come on for a particular song. It's just like, oh, there we go. I'm like back in that bedroom all those years ago, like drunk out of my mind with my friends. Whatever. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, the music's really good. But again, like they're putting in things like the bowling alley. The bowling alley is this like temple of Americana. It's brilliant. And then like when he's, the cassette deck and the cassette tape, which is again, very old fashioned, but it just takes you back to a different time. And I think similarly, the Coens in that film are doing a really good job of creating almost that sort of like that collage of nostalgia they're all putting together, which, as you've said, Andrew, Tarantino's really good at as well, which I'll talk about a little bit later. In terms of the writing, I can't look past the buddy cop duo, which is essentially what these two are. I know neither of them are actually policemen, and only one of them is actually a private investigator. But these are really, really close in sort of who they are in terms of you've got one who's a bit off the wall and creates the thrills and spills and is always getting into scrapes through their own reckless agency. And then you've got the world-weary sort of straight man to that. And that's really, really prevalent across Lethal Weapon and the Nice Guys. More so than a film I think you're going to mention later on, Simon. I would say I think these are a really good sort of analog for each other in terms of the mashup.
Yeah, and even in terms of the mashup with Lebowski and Nice Guys, I think there's a certain thing with Russell Crowe's character where he's kind of the dude in terms of just like things are sort of happening to him, and he's allowing the space for Gosling to do the John Goodman and be the big show. And Gosling is getting all of the prime physical comedy in the film, much like John Goodman was doing in Lebowski. So I think there's a lot of dynamic to that, where even there's the scene where Crowe shows up to his apartment and people are there waiting to jump him. The same thing happens with the dude where he shows up back to his house and people are there waiting to jump him. There's a lot of parallels between those two.
Yeah,
for sure. Just on the dialogue screenplay side of things, I think that there's a lot of smart Shane Black dialogue here, which is it's almost throwaway. It's throughout it that rewards those repeat viewings, that you can not catch something the first couple of times you watch it, and then the third time you're just like, huh, that's that nice little line, nice little reference back. Or and I think, Carl, you even saw that for the previous episode with the sort of the Hitler reference, the Hitler lines.
Yes,
but they do in the Nice Guys.
Well, I like the Hitler stuff because to me that's funny when anybody throws that in anyway. Because if you're having a serious discussion, somebody you mention Hitler and somebody, oh, Godwin's law, you've gone too far, sort of thing. So it's always funny to me anyway when somebody throws that in as I know, I'm going, yes, I've done it, I've gone straight to Hitler. What of it? Of course, he gets it wrong, which is even better. It's like another layer. Like, who else is just following orders? Hitler. Well, not really. Yeah, there's some good stuff there. It's interesting that you said about the writing, right? I want to dig into that a little bit. So you're saying you said this in reference to Lethal Weapon, and Shane Black's got a particular style. I haven't seen a ton of Shane Black. I would say that Lethal Weapon was quite different to this and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, for instance. Which is partly because this and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang are nearly identical, but we'll get to that. But yeah, to me, this felt a little different. This felt more sort of convoluted. Maybe that's not quite the right word. I would definitely use the word convoluted with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Lethal Weapon, on the other hand, I thought was much more direct and neat than some of the other things that people tend to highlight about Shane Black's writing, I would say. But I haven't seen a load of him, so over to you guys.
Well, I think maybe he's pulling a little bit of some of that 70s style, where I've been watching a lot of 70s movies this year for my own show, and so I've seen a lot of Elliot Gould movies and Cassavetes movies, and there's just kind of more of a laid-back approach to those films where, again, the plot is more or less irrelevant to just like hanging out in the world and with the characters. And it sort of feels like Shane Black's like, let me use my ability to get really good dialogue on the page, and the plot I kind of want to feel sort of like that 70s vibe. Like this is totally a vibes movie where you're just with the characters and you're either with them or you're not with them. And if you're not with them, the plot's not going to keep you attracted to this movie because it's completely irrelevant to what's actually happening on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had the impression after initial watch, looking back, that there was a greater focus on the plot, and on subsequent rewatches, you do kind of come to that conclusion that there are noir aspects to it, but they're just kind of background. They don't need to be. They don't need to be there. It is all about the characters and the camaraderie between them. I think for the Shane Black writing, I think you do have a point, Carl, in that the Lethal Weapon being his first one, he has developed and refined. There's almost now a Shane Black template that you can put onto, particularly even with Iron Man 3. He's taken a Marvel film and he's essentially put his template within that, down to it being set at Christmas, down to it being creating a buddy comedy with a child involved in it as well, like an adult child thing. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Nice Guys, you're right, there are very similar things to it. I think with as Andrew said, the vibes and the spending time with the characters, and if you really relate to those characters and really attach to them, you can get taken along with it. That's exactly how I feel about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and that's one that I really like. That is one of my favorite films to continually rewatch, because I just love Downey Jr. I love Val Kilmer together, and those two characters that they have and the dialogue that they have. It takes me along with it. You're exactly right in the convoluted nature of it. And it does feel, the similarity, it does feel like he went, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang didn't really work commercially for me. How can let's put it in the 70s. Let's get two big stars. Let's see if we could really get this one right this time and get it out there. And similar sort of thing happened to it, in that it wasn't a complete flop, but it certainly didn't bust any blocks.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if I like, was Gosling putting all of his marketing promotional energy into La La Land at the time? Obviously he was, because that was the big picture for him. And then Russell Crowe, we had sort of passed the era of Russell Crowe being a true bona fide movie star. He was sort of second fiddle in Man of Steel a few years prior. He was in Noah, which really was not a very good film for him commercially. Even like Body of Lies, which is a Ridley Scott movie, didn't perform with Leo in it. So it sort of felt like Russell Crowe had reached his limit for what people were going to like pay to see a Russell Crowe film, unfortunately. And this movie just kind of got stuck in there. However, having only recently seen a new Shane Black movie that came out like a month ago, this thing feels so dynamic compared to wherever Shane Black's at in his career right now. If you have Prime Video, do everything to avoid Play Dirty, please. That movie that will ruin your opinion of a Shane Black experience.
Interesting. That has completely gone under my radar. I didn't even realize that it didn't even get a theatrical release. Was it?
Didn't even hit the theaters. I think Prime just pushed it out and said, "Let's hope this never gets picked up by anybody."
And that's one he's
Mark
directed.
Wahlberg,
As well.
say no more.
Yeah. It's like Shame, like, as we have said, he's got a template, and it's very much following the template, but it feels like those straight to stream films where it's dead on arrival. It's not fully baked.
I want to talk a little bit more about Russell Crowe. I know we're not in cast, but sort of try to come at this from a writing point of view. By the way, Body of Lies, I think, a little slept on. It's not amazing. It's very much Ridley Scott just doing what he thinks is cool, and whether it makes any sense or not is your problem, not his. But Russell Crowe makes a fantastic bastard in that film. He makes a very good villain, and actually it's a shame we haven't seen a bit more of that, because I quite enjoyed him and Leo going at it in that movie. Yeah, he's definitely on the slide. I think this is a bit of a shame in this movie, because they put him as the straight man, and we said in our Movie the Needle episode, for as flat as I find him in this, he's still kind of difficult to recast, because it's difficult to think of somebody else who could be as sort of genial as to be the everyman, but also a proper hard bastard, even when required, and have that sort of gravitas as well. And I kind of here blame the writing a little bit, because they do put him as a straight man, and okay, he's not going to get any of the comedic chops because of that, but they also leave his backstory, the fact that he's been divorced, he's a recovering alcoholic, almost completely untouched. There are a couple of bits where he's resisting a drink, and then at the end, of course, it's like, oh, so you're drinking again, so that's good. And we just kind of leave that. It's like, no, that's not good. He's off the wagon. What are you talking about? What are we doing with that? And we've deprived him of doing any comedy. We also sort of deprive him in this film of going the other way and fleshing out that sort of bleak side of his character as well. I think.
Yeah, I think he does still get some comedic moments, but it's largely in reaction to Gosling.
It's
right?
classic straight man stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he still does have some good lines, but they are very much in riposte to what Gosling is doing, which is, as Andrew said, is the sort of the broader comedic role that's going on. I'm going to talk about voiceovers, Carl. You know how I feel about voiceovers, right?
And I think we should give some context for this. What was the film?
What was the
film? I think it was Casino.
Yeah.
I really like Casino. Simon doesn't like Casino. And he went to task on the voiceover. A voiceover with two voices as well. I hate voiceovers, and two voices is just taking the piss. And many, many films he brings to the table is like in, not only do they have voiceovers, often they have two fucking voices as well.
Yeah.
And this one's no exception, as it say.
I am consistently inconsistent. Yeah. This one is a really weird one, though, because they introduce it with the dual voiceovers and then completely abandon it for the rest of the film. So it's literally like they introduce the two characters, they give their own little spiel, sort of introducing themselves as like the main character, each of them introducing themselves as like the main character in their own film. And then that's it. Literally never touched again. Not even at the end. I don't think there's even like an ending wrap up one, which you sometimes get.
That's the only weird point about that for me. It's a bit weird that they didn't patch it back in at the end.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, but I'm kind of here for it. I will say, full disclosure, Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time, and it has been for years and years. And
Simon likes that as well, and he hates voiceovers. Go figure.
The VO gets just absolutely destroyed for that movie by some people close to me, and I can't make heads or tails of it.
That's great.
Yeah. It's obviously an easy crutch for bad movies and bad writing to use it as exposition dumps, but when done properly, I think it works. I like it here in the brief little bit we get, but then to your point, it's just gone, and it's just like we could have probably gotten into the same spot without the voiceover for either character, really.
Yeah, probably.
We talked about Shane Black liking his Christmas. Very, very much. No, very little Christmas. Only the very end scene is there any relation to Christmas here. I wonder if he was just like, well, the last few Christmas ones I've haven't done, and I've got to throw it, get rid of the Christmas. I've got to have it in there still somewhere.
See, I believe the sequel. I believe he planned out to have a sequel to this, at least one, and I think the sequel would have been a Christmas movie.
Ah, okay.
I think he was already preparing and hoping.
Yeah. That does make sense. It is something that Crowe has talked openly, saying that he would like to do a sequel. I don't know if the time has passed now, particularly with Shane Black being where he is and Russell Crowe being where he is, as you've said. Would you be up for it, Andrew? Would you welcome a sequel?
I don't know about at this point in time. I feel like we've gone too far past the point of, but it's really fascinating. I also heard that interview with Russell Crowe talking about it. It's weird that he's never done a sequel throughout his entire career. That's just kind of an anomalous thing that you don't really think about. But I also don't think Gosling's in a place right now to be doing this kind of movie. He feels too big for this, more or less. Like I feel like he's going to have a hard time, quite honestly, grounding himself again post Barbie, because the Fall Guy was sort of, I feel like he's going to get pigeonholed into something if he's not careful. And so I hope that Gosling kind of tethers himself back to being able to do character work like this, which I think is really his sweet spot. But I don't know if a sequel works in 2025 at this point. We have, if you crank one out 2 years after this in 2018, maybe it picks up some steam. And maybe you get a third one even, but I just, there's no hope for this ever getting made again.
It'll end up being a Netflix series.
Yeah, I think, did he originally envision this as a series when he was first starting out writing it? I'm sure I read that somewhere, that he was considering this as more of a series rather than just a film on its own, which does kind of call to the fact that he was maybe planning more adventures for these characters.
Oh yeah, it was so obviously set up for adventures, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, with the ending, right?
Yeah.
When you get the newspaper clip, it's like obviously they were hoping for another one.
Yeah. It's funny you should say about Russell Crowe never having sequel. So yeah, this one was set up for it. Didn't do so well. He's not going to get it. The Mummy, he would have been in that had that not bombed, and they abandoned that project. There's Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. That was supposed to be a load of sequels. I think that was just too expensive, and schedules clashed at the time. Now that's too late for that. He just has not got his timing right at all, has he?
He's decided he wants to be an exorcist now. For anyone who has followed his career recently, he's literally cranked out 2 movies where he plays an exorcist trying to help the Pope in the last 3 years.
More to do with the fact, can I wear a smock? Yeah. Wear a smock, yeah, that's nice and comfortable, that, isn't it?
Hey, I don't fault him. Take comfort over. He's already certified at this point. He's got equity in the bank.
It's like the Simpsons episode that Homer gets all of the weight on. He just wears the moo-boo or whatever he calls it.
Yeah, brilliant. Live your best life.
No, good stuff. Very quick sidebar. It's not really on production, but it's something that I've not mentioned on the podcast before and I need to get out of me. Dry brushing of teeth on screen. Oh, it's just absolutely sets me on edge, and I just need to know if it is just me or other people feel the same whenever they do.
Tasting yesterday's toothbrush.
It just gets the toothbrush straight in there. But it's in any filming scene, like they never have any water and there's never any foam when they're brushing it. It's just doing it. It's just sets me on edge. I don't know. Is it just me?
It might be.
I mean, I've certainly never brushed my teeth dry. That's an insane thing to do for any human being. I'm much more like Pee Wee Herman style. Give me as much foam as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
My thing with movie tropes like that is people putting the phone down before they've said bye, or the last word in the conversation. I watched the Moneyball scene the other day because I've just finished reading the book, and I threw up the YouTube clip of the Rincon negotiation, and it's like, there's nobody understands what Brad Pitt's talking about in that scene. He's all over the place with when he's hanging up and whatever. But everybody on that call has got half a phone call. Everybody.
All right. Anything else on production, guys?
Just a couple of things. Like I said, this time around, I enjoyed it a little more, and it's just simple stuff as the little moments, like when Gosling is offered a drink and he says no thanks. It's like, it's a free bar. And it's just like the little glance. He doesn't even say anything. The glance back. It's like, yeah, that's good. And I just noticed there's just quite a bit of things like that throughout that I appreciated. And I like that stuff. On our episode, you sort of said, the script the dialogue's really, really snappy. And I was like, no, I'm not sold that it's that clever or brilliant. I don't know so much of its dialogue, but there are lots of little moments like that in it, which are very, very subtle, very, very clever. And I enjoyed picking up on that stuff this time around.
Andrew, anything more for you on production?
I mean, I think we'll probably get to it when we get to the cast, but to the point there, Carl, I think that I do wonder how much was on the page and how much was them kind of letting Gosling turned loose, because it feels like a lot of his stuff is spontaneous and improvised to a degree. Certainly in that bathroom scene, it just feels like he's just like, cameras are rolling, just do your thing, just go for it.
Yeah, he maybe is just that good though.
Well, that's my take. But
yeah, this will be one of those stories where it comes out. No, every little thing was scripted, and it is just how good Ryan Gosling is at making that look natural. Yeah, good stuff.
Which is the Lebowski effect, which is the most famous. Like, apparently, there's not a single bit of ad lib except for like one moment in that whole movie, which is wild.
Yeah, well, William H. Macy said that about Fargo as well. He was saying even the R's were all scripted. So that awkward, bumbling performance is all down on the paper. Yeah, there we go.
Fantastic. Well, let's move along to plot then. So we have talked about the Shane Black template here. So we've got the people that don't like each other, they grudgingly work together, they start to build that relationship, partnership, and then it spawns a sequel, and then we explore that for it didn't quite happen with that one. But this does fit that template exactly. And I think there's a part of that which lends it that comfort, doesn't it? Because you can kind of see where it's going to happen when they aren't getting on together. There will come a time where they'll grudgingly start to work with each other, and then that they will form a bit of a bond. So it does live up to those sort of expectations you would have going into this. That it's kind of a steady beat. But I do think it does subvert other expectations in the plot.
Such as?
So the rescue.
Well, I was going to say something else, but I'll let you round that out first.
All right, okay. So the rescue at the hotel, right? So they go up, they're up in the elevator. This is like the big rescue scene where they've tracked her down. They know there's a bad guy up there, and they just sort of see the shit going down and just go, no, and just back away. Go. In other movies, that would have been like the finale, the big shootout and everything. But no, we have to wait. We have to wait for that to come. There's obviously the bumblebee hallucination, which sets up the ankle gun gag, which was one of my favorite bits of the whole film, which is very Big Lebowski with the dream dance sequence thing, which is just takes you completely out of it. It's just completely surreal, but somehow kind of works. Other plot elements that they kind of subvert. The girl they're trying to save, like the damsel in distress, dies. Just gets plain killed at a really random part of the film after she's kind of escaped. And you think, oh, they're going to track it. No, dead. The bad guys get away with it ultimately, and Healy starts drinking again. There is no like redemptive arc. He's essentially ends up in a worse place than where he started as well, which I know Carl's already talked about, that it's kind of it's not really, you don't get the hit of that because they've not really dealt with the backstory.
Well, this is what's really interesting about that for me, right? So some of that stuff, I would say, absolutely isn't a subversion. It's much more of a pastiche to noir, right? Because all of those things are in classic noir films. Why I think that's an interesting conversation is because we said on our podcast, right, this is a comedy neo-noir, right? It's a mashup of the two things. And actually, we kicked around the idea a little bit that, like, do you know what? Most people who seem to like this are appreciating the comedy side of it. And we actually both agreed the comedy side of it is stronger than the noir side of it, right? The actual plot side of it. Andrew, you've said similar today. You've said, like, you know, if you're with them on the comedy, they're going to pull you through because actually, much like the Big Lebowski, the plot doesn't matter. What's interesting about that to me is, I mean, I want the plot to matter more. I want more of a mashup, and I want them to do the other half as well as, at least as well as they did the comedic side of it. All of the elements are there when you start listing them like that. They are in classic noir films. So, you know, does the plot matter or not? And they just didn't do a great job of it. Is he just throwing up those things to go, hey, throw back to noir films? You like noir films? Hey, I've just thrown in a dead woman and the relapsed alcoholic. Or were they trying? And then, you know, I don't know. It's an interesting chat, I think.
I've been struggling with like where this movie kind of comes unglued narratively for me, because when it starts, I'm with it. I'm very much like invested in right away, like when Misty Mountains comes blowing through the house, and I'm like, okay, interesting. I'm here. I'm trying to pick up the pieces of what's going on. For me, I think I pinpointed that it's the party scene, which is for me the best scene. The problem is that scene is like the largest chunk of the movie. That scene is multiple scenes going on and on and on. And then once we eventually get to the introduction of Amelia's mom, Kim Basinger, the movie just kind of like, I almost want to hit stop there most of the time. If not for that elevator scene afterwards, there's not much in the movie past the party scene where I'm that connected to anything, quite frankly. Like, again, this is just one of those classic, if I'm cable flipping and it's on, I'll probably turn it on. And when I get to the good parts, and then when I get past the party, I'll probably turn it off. And if it's on in the background, I'll watch it for good parts and I'll turn it off. And that's kind of how I feel about the plot, is that he spends so much time at that party scene narratively that once we get past it, it feels like the movie loses all momentum. That is really the driving force of that movie, is the party scene.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree, Andrew, with when Kim Basinger character is introduced. I'm not entirely sure that character and performance works for this, because, you know, we compared it to Chinatown. If you're going down the proper noir thing, you've got the big bad in the background that's pulling the strings, and you know, if that's what basing a character is meant to be. It just
Well,
doesn't.
in Chinatown, Noah
work.
Cross is front and center throughout the film.
Yeah.
We don't exactly know what he is, but as the film goes on, we learn more about him and we learn more about his motivations and actually the extent of his actions and everything. The way this plays it, I sort of think it's like, it's almost gone, we're going to play it like, we're going to give you a noir in the style of The Big Lebowski. We're going to give you these elements and we're just going to keep dropping them in, and they don't really matter. You don't need to. And then it's like it gets to the Kim Basinger bit and it goes, oh, by the way, Chinatown, here's Noah Cross. and you can't do that. You can't deliver a Chinatown story in the style of The Big Lebowski. It doesn't work. And I can't figure out in my head which way they were trying to go. Were they going for that and it's just a bit of fun? Or were they trying to do a proper mashup of those two genres and they've kind of just not quite got it right? Because I'm all for the we've essentially got three protagonists, right? I'm all for them being stupid and absurd, and you keep that element as is. For me, I want everything else around it to be serious and so I don't like the fact that Blueface and Old Guy are just these, nebulous mob bosses that are just dropped in, and then they're usurped by a bigger boss in John Boy, and who's then usurped by a bigger Noah Cross. Here she is. I kind of want all that to be a lot more serious. And yeah, like I say, I can't quite figure out if that's me or if they were going for something that haven't quite hit it. I'm not sure.
I just wonder if like the whole idea of the sequel of it all was in play in the writing process. Like if he's thinking about, okay, well, these characters, some of them might come into play at a later point, or the larger overall picture of what's going on in the city and the underbelly. And like maybe there's more to it that Shane Black's got in his head that we never got to see on screen because of the way this movie just didn't perform at the box office. And so there's a good chance this is just not a complete franchise or complete series of stories, and that's where we're left with.
That's interesting as well. I would circle back to my Lethal Weapon being a proper film. Again, that just feels like there it is, complete piece of work. Everybody knows where they are with that. And a lot of the time these days, I feel like that's not the case, because it's always trying to either spread over various different themes and whatever, or it's going to touch on go into different films or what have you. So, and I don't know. It's interesting.
Lethal Weapon, you've got the big bad guy and the henchman there, haven't you? The Nice Guys has kind of got the same thing. It's just not used in the same way. And actually, as you said, Guy, you've got two henchmen that then get usurped by the big bad henchman who's real badass in John Boy and Matt Bomer. But it definitely fits together less satisfyingly than Lethal Weapon, which is just kind of follows.
Unless that's the thing. Unless it is Big Lebowski, where the plot is not actually supposed to be important, and we are just supposed to go, it's just ramping up through silliness. So there we go. Did you spot the subplot of when March says late on that he thinks he can't die? So that makes perfect sense when you think about it, because by that point he's the thing, right? Because Keith David has assimilated Jackson Healy in the apartment, which is what allows the middle-aged overweight Healy to so nimbly flip through the window to avoid the gunshots. Healy's got plenty of time to assimilate March later before he, falls down the hill, crashes the car, falls off the rooftop. He's superhuman at that point. So it's good, wasn't it?
I am here for the thing anytime you want to mention the thing, so that's great.
Very good, very good. Liking it. Just you were talking, Carl, about the that clash of styles where they're doing the Big Lebowski style thing, but then they're throwing in these noir elements. Is there an example out there where that's been done successfully?
I should say as well, the noir elements are also in The Big Lebowski, right? You've got a femme fatale who is dressed up as this feminist artist whose work has been described as vaginal. And, you've got the essentially unsatisfying ending where nothing really happens and also all that sort of thing. So they're doing that in The Big Lebowski as well. The difference, I think, is, and maybe not, maybe this is just me misinterpreting The Nice Guys, they know, because this is classic Coen Brothers, they've just thrown that in for a laugh. They're not really interested in doing anything particularly brilliant with that. They, not unlike Tarantino, love films and popular culture and just want to throw as much of that stuff into onto the screen as possible, right? As for a film that actually tries to take noir off in the spirit of noir, but be a bit funny, there's one with Humphrey Bogart in. It's set in Rome. It's John Huston one. I'll have to look it up. But it's a much lighter affair. They've played it very, very safe. Like, they're not going for absurd. They're not going for like completely taking the piss out of it. It's more like a serious noir film, but they're just being a bit more lighthearted. And there's maybe a bit less at stake or whatever. So there probably is one out there. I can't think of one beyond that. I'll try to get the name of that.
I'm literally scanning the 2,000 movies that surround me here to see if I can pull out one really quickly.
Just in a wall of Blu-rays and DVDs.
I mean,
Beat the Devil. Beat the Devil.
Beat
there
the
you
Devil.
go. Yeah, Beat the Devil, 1953.
All right, thank you, Carl. New item added to the watch list.
Which I'm sure
I didn't say it was any good.
What size is your watch list at, Andrew? If you're using it for your prep for your episodes, it must be pretty sizable.
Let's see. At the moment, it's sitting at 328.
Yeah,
nice.
Manageable.
Nice and manageable. Yeah.
So, any plot elements you want to call out?
I mean, really, again, because we sort of have to look at it as its own entity and we don't know whatever was out there, I do think he's doing his best homage to the Lebowski of it all. But as good as Shane Black is, I think, at writing dialogue between two people bantering, he does not have the Coen brothers DNA in terms of really pulling it off start to finish. Because even though The Big Lebowski, the plot, if you ask most people what the plot of that movie is, they will never be able to tell you. It doesn't matter, and it's totally okay because that movie just runs, it purrs, it's got it knows what it's doing the whole time. And this movie, again, post party scene, I could hit stop and be totally fine not watching the rest of it because I do think Shane Black just doesn't have the writing chops that the Coens do, and that's not a knock on him. It's just saying the Coens are some of our great writers in the history of the medium, and that's okay. So the plot's fine, but I'll never go back to this movie to watch the plot. I always go back to this movie to watch Ryan Gosling, really.
Yeah. Point of order. When I said to Simon that I'd only got as far as the party scene 4 times and then turned it off, he did nothing but berate me. How can you not finish a movie?
That's my main point. Like, Andrew has seen this movie lots of times, and that's the point. He decides to stop. He didn't decide to stop before completing the movie.
Well, all he knows is what I suspected. I was right. Let's not get any better from here. Off it goes.
We have this ongoing discussion about whether you should complete a film regardless of how much you're not enjoying it, so you can get a full picture of it and judge it in its entirety. Are there films that you abandon, particularly if you're doing your prep for your episodes, where you're like, you've thrown something in there, it wasn't on your top of your list that you needed to watch, you're like, I haven't got time for this shit?
Well, I'm a disgusting human being, so I will watch everything to completion, and that's I'm not advocating for that, promise me. So if you're a normal human being and you get 30 or 40 minutes into a movie and it's not your style, turn it off and go to something else. There are too many options out there to waste your time on something unless you have a really strong recommendation from somebody that you trust their opinion on. I think and I'm also the person, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox about this, I don't watch film trailers at all because I already know I'm going to watch everything as is, so I don't need to get to the trailer. But do yourself a service and watch a trailer if you have any inclination to actually watch the movie. And if the trailer and then the first 30 minutes don't stick for you, shut it off. I'm not gonna be the gatekeeper on that one.
I think that's where it's fell down then, because you said if you get a recommendation from someone's opinion you trust, and that's obviously where it just fell down for Carl.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there we go. This is your bit now, Andrew. It's lovely. Thank you.
Good. What's the ABV count on that?
It's a 5%, this one.
Okay.
Steady away.
Yeah, they are only small bottles, I should say, as well. I haven't just mainlined a litre of beer in the past hour.
Yeah,
I will.
It's early.
I do want to bring the tone down to my level and talk about boobs. All 3 movies have the sort of porn backdrop to varying degrees, and therefore all have boobs very early on. None earlier on than the nice guys, which just opens with the boobs, and Misty Mountain's car coming through this. The toy pen actually pretty much opens with boobs as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
On the balcony as well, which 13-year-old me, which is still me, by the way.
Yeah.
Very switched on, engaged from the get-go with this. I won't be turning off just in case there's more boobs later on.
The Big Lebowski, 17-year-old me laughed out loud when what's her name? No, Reed.
Tara Reid.
Yeah, when she said, "I'll suck your cock for $1,000." 17-year-old me burst out laughing at that. 40-year-old me burst out laughing at Philip Seymour Hoffman's reaction to that. It's just. He's just so brilliant in that.
He is brilliant.
Oh, she's a character we're all delighted to have her.
Every single line that Hoffman has in the Lebowski is fantastic.
Yeah.
I will do my best not to go on a Philip Seymour Hoffman rant, but I think he is maybe the greatest actor of the last 30 years. I would put my chip down on that.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, I don't know where I'd put him in my rank, but yeah, I really, really like him.
Cool. Any thoughts on boobs, or do you want to move on to
I'm a fan, I'll admit. Yeah.
Okay,
pro boob. And good on that kid though good on the kid though for having a little bit of discretion, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've talked about similar to my feelings of it with the plot. It's kind of losing momentum a little bit, and the zaniness wears off a little thin on repeat viewings once you get to that final part with it. One other similarity there is bowling. Bowling does appear with the party with the rim shot, which always fun. Shout out to Janet as well.
That bitch.
Between Janet and Chet, just perfect names.
Fucking Chet. Yeah, is Chet like? Because Chet's definitely not a name that's made its way over here. Is that a name that you'd go? Anyone called Chet? Oh,
yeah. You're a to pull a Carl term. You're a proper cunt if you are named Chet for sure.
Simon, if you don't title this episode accordingly, you're missing a trick.
Very good stuff. But all three films for me, they're all rewatchable ones. Like you could put them on and rewatch. To Andrew's point, yes, there's you maybe get to a point with some of them where you go like, well, I'll stop concentrating quite so much now, but happy to put them on at any point in time. It's that time of the episode where we pit Carl against our guests for this week and test their movie knowledge in a game somewhat related to the movies covered in the episode. And of course, there is a theme song, which I shall play for you now. I'm sorry, Andrew. Would you like to play Nice Guys Tic-Tac-Toe or North and Crosses if you prefer? Just choose the handsome face of your favourite nice guy to make a line diagonal up or along. So let's find out if you are thick or clever. Take your time, but let's not take forever. Here are your nice guys. So there we go.
Good.
This is Nice Guys Tic-Tac-Toe. I've sent you both a 3x3 grid, which will be similar to anyone who has played Noughts and Crosses, Tic-Tac-Toe, whatever way you like to do it. Each of the squares on the grid has a Hollywood nice guy. And it's a simple game of Noughts and Crosses. You take in turns to pick a Hollywood nice guy. You answer a trivia question. If you get it right, you take the square with your shape, either a nought or a cross. And if you get it wrong, the square goes to your opponent. So a bit of strategy plus the movie knowledge coming in here. Some questions are easier than others, but be warned, the middle square is intentionally more difficult. First to get 3 in a row, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, wins each square. We have 3 grids to go at. Do you understand?
3 grids, I like it.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, disclaimer.
Let me just say that the creativity from you two is off the charts between the song and the games every month. This is ridiculous. I also have no idea how you people over there, and I say you people over there in the UK, between the songs you come up with at football matches and the songs that you come up with for podcasts, you have way more imagination than us over here in the States. So I salute you, sir.
Yeah, there are some amazing football chants out there, which you do just have to tip your hat to, even if you're the one being shouted at in the opposite end.
We say defense. We chant defense over here, and that's all we got.
Yeah, you've got a few. You've got a few different ones, but they're very much the same. I do have a small disclaimer here that if any of these nice guys subsequently turn out to be complete wrong-uns, then I am waived of all responsibility. I cannot be held responsible for any of that. Also, big self-aware advanced apology. I realize that all these are white men. I could and should have selected a more diverse set of Hollywood nice guys, such as Dev Patel, Pedro Pascal, Lupita Nyong'o, and of course, Emily Blunt. Could have done this. That's on me. By the time I noticed it, I'd already written all the questions. Laziness Trump representativity. I'm sorry. Are you ready? All right, let's play Nice Guys Tic-Tac-Toe. Andrew, as you're the guest, would you like to be crows, that's noughts, or would you like to be goslings or crosslings? Noughts or crosses?
I'm definitely going to take the crossling.
The crossling. Okay, so grid number 1, pick your nice guy.
Okay, well, I've got to go with my go-to nice guy, and that is the man, the myth, the legend, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, top right for those on the audio. And in the John Wick series, what is the name of the hotel that caters to assassins?
The Continental.
It is the Continental. So you get your cross in there. Okay, Carl, where would you like to go?
Well, this is a problem because following the tic-tac-toe logic or noughts and crosses logic, the only way I can avoid defeat is to go middle, which you said was harder.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I don't get that, I'm just going to lose to a nice 3 in a row anyway, somewhere else. So I'm going to have to go for Brendan Fraser, and I'll go on record just to say I don't like the logic of this game.
All right. Brendan Fraser. What 1997 comedy features Fraser as a man raised in a fallout shelter opposite Alicia Silverstone? I saw it at the cinema.
It's the one with Christopher Walken as his dad in. I've just got next to no chance of remembering what it's called. Oh, no, I don't know.
Andrew, do you remember what it is?
I do. It's one of my favorites, Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past,
never got there.
Indeed. So, Andrew, that's the middle one done. You've got top right and middle. Are you wanting to go for...
I guess I'm just going to try to finish off Carl nicely and easily and go for the bottom left corner. We're going to take
It's the most respectful thing to do. If you went for Tom Hanks, which would also guarantee you victory, you'd just be taking the piss, wouldn't you? So.
All right. So, and it's a nice, easy one as well.
I'm going to go full Walter Slowback here. This is what happens.
So, in Crazy Stupid Love, who plays the smooth-talking bachelor who mentors Carell's
For God's sake.
My man, Ryan Gosling.
It is Ryan Gosling to finish.
He looks so good without a shirt.
So that is grid 1 to Andrew. Well done. 3 diagonally in a row there. All right. So, Carl, I'm going to let you go first for the second one, just so you don't cry. So,
well, I mean, also,
grid
surely that's the only logical way to do things, isn't it?
So, grid number 2, where would you like to go first?
Act like you're doing me a fucking favour. Yeah, I don't. Fuck it. Let's go. Oh, do we? Yeah, let's go Tom Hardy.
Okay, Tom Hardy. Okay, it's very small on my screen. Is that top right?
Top right, yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Tom Hardy. In Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Who plays Furiosa opposite Hardy's Max?
Let's go Anya Taylor-Joy.
Wrong movie.
Hey, is it?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No, it's...
Is she not in one of them?
She is, but yeah, just not that. We actually covered this on a podcast, the exact similar sort of question as well in the past, and you went for this wrong character, wrong actress.
It's my only point of reference.
How dare you besmirch Fury Road?
Andrew, do you remember who it is?
Oh, yeah, Charlize Theron. Brilliant.
Well, what's the difference? Eh? Long women. So, yeah.
All right. So, Andrew, where would you like to go next? The board is open to you.
Okay, I'm going to go dead center. And it's going to be a tough one, but I feel like my Tom Hanks knowledge is pretty strong.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one with the most famous actor in the world in the middle of it. Whereas in the last one, it was Brendan Fraser, a man who famously had about 10 years off. Yeah, all right. Let's see how this is.
All right. Your Tom Hanks question is, in Big, which actress plays the definitely not technically a paedophile Susan, the love interest of Tom Hanks' Josh?
Wow. I am totally blanking on her name. I am going to cede this to Carl. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull out her name at the moment.
Carl, do you remember? I mean, it doesn't matter. You get the circle
I love Big.
anyway.
I love Big.
Yeah.
Susan is the character name.
Yeah.
It's Elizabeth something.
It is Elizabeth something.
Yeah, I've no chance though.
Oh, Elizabeth Perkins.
Well, I get the thing anyway.
You do get the thing anyway, so you get Tom Hanks. So, Carl, where would you like to go? You've got the centre, so...
Okay.
Where would you like to go?
Not my deal here. Gonna have to be... Let's go... No, if I do that, that's going to be a Marvel question. If I do that, that's going to be a John Wick question. He's... fuck it, he'll have to be Keanu.
Keanu Reeves, bottom right. Okay, what is the name of the sequel to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Ooh, what's the descriptor I'm going with here? Is it like Most Bodacious Adventure or something?
It's not.
I don't know. No.
It's not.
It should have been, though. Bogus Journey.
Yeah, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So Andrew gets Keanu, which means I'm assuming you're going for Paul Rudd to complete your line here.
Yeah, I guess we'll go Paul Rudd.
So not a middle square, so not a difficult one. What 1995 teen comedy features Paul Rudd as Josh the love interest?
That would be Clueless.
He is Clueless. Oh, he takes an unassailable 2-0 lead.
Absolute car crash.
Did we do double or nothing in the third round?
No, there's no ties in this game.
No, I don't want it. No.
All right, we'll go to the third one anyway, just see if Carl can get one back.
Going for the clean sheet.
So, yeah. So, I guess it's Andrew's turn to go first.
Yes, Andrew's turn to go first.
Okay. Just to include this gentleman, since we haven't talked about him yet, let's go with bottom right corner and Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Okay, what 2005 film features Reynolds as a former overweight teen returning to his hometown?
Oh, I went to cinema to see that.
Me too.
I always think of the Jack Black movie that's similar, and it's not that one.
Similarly problematic, no?
Yes, indeed it is. God, what in the world is the name of that one? All I got is the Jack Black Shallow Hal in my brain, so I think I'm going to have to cede this one.
It's not Shallow Hal. Do you remember, Carl?
Just Friends.
Just Friends, correct. All right, you take...
I mean, I don't know what's more shameful, really, that I've lost the game or that I know that.
Where would you like to go, Carl? Bottom right is taken.
Yeah, well, it has to be Steve Carell, doesn't it?
Steve Carell in the middle. Okay. What 2007 film features Carell as a widowed advice columnist who falls for his brother's girlfriend?
Dan in Real Life.
Dan in Real Life is correct. Well done.
Very good film, if I remember it correctly, but I haven't seen it since it came out, so who knows?
Andrew, you're going to play defense here?
Yeah, we're definitely on the defensive. Let's take Hugh Jackman top left.
Hugh Jackman top left. So in The Greatest Showman, who does Hugh Jackman play?
You just had to pull the one movie I absolutely despise. I've only watched it once. I will never probably watch it again. I have no idea.
It's P.T. Barnum.
It is P.T. Barnum. So there we go. Carl gets the win.
A bit of pride there. A bit of pride
get one back. So the winner is Andrew. Well done, Andrew. That was Nice Guys Tic-Tac-Toe. All right, let's move on to the cast then and round out our deep dive into the Nice Guys. Where would you like to start, Andrew?
Well, let's not go obvious. Let's go a little further down. So I will say the two sort of secondary women who I think are both really talented in the film, and one of them has obviously blossomed into bona fide top tier superstar status already. You got Margaret Qualley in a very limited role comparatively to what she's recently done. And then I think really kind of going toe to toe with Gosling as arguably the best part of this movie is the girl who plays his daughter. Anjali Rice is phenomenal. She's miles beyond her years in this movie. The scene at the bowling alley, she just goes tit for tat with him. Yeah, I think Anjali Rice is really remarkable in this. I wish I'd seen her more in stuff. I don't feel like I've seen her do a ton of stuff in the last 10 years, and maybe that's just me.
Say the film she's been in.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen her in, apart from this, is the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I've not seen anything else that she has been in. But yeah, she's what, 13 in this? And not an annoying, precocious kid, which is already a win. But as you say, yeah, goes toe to toe. Acts as a kind of driver and moral compass for March, but then you can see it's a realistic portrayal that you can see how Healy actually starts becoming attached as well. If it was an annoying, precocious kid, that wouldn't have necessarily landed quite as much. I thought she did really good exasperation and disappointment in her dad as well. Having seen that firsthand every single day, I think she really pulled that off.
My kids aren't there yet, but I know it's coming.
Yeah. I've got two girls, my life. I see it all the time. I mean, look, as I said on our Movie the Needle episode, I love Gosling in this film. I think the rest of the characters, a lot of them, for varying reasons, perhaps, are a bit flat. And I sort of dismissed her a little bit when we did that episode. Not as bad, but just as a sort of a nothing performance. But again, watching it this time round, you talk about the disappointment she has in her dad. It's not just a line; it's the eyebrows or what have you. When she's, "Am I a bad person?" Yes. And the way she just looks at him like, yes. And she's very good at all of that stuff.
Yeah, when she calls him the worst detective in the world, and then when at the end later when she throws the hot coffee that's really not hot, and he's like proud of her for having
where your head is at.
I like the arc that those two characters go on together, regardless of what's happening around them.
Yeah.
Gosling's reaction to that worst detective in the world is good as well, because it's another sort of just like the worst, little. It's not quite a double take, but it's just
he has a couple of goes back at her, doesn't he? Because doesn't he keep doing things and be like, the worst one.
Yeah, I mean, really, when it comes to the cast, though, Carl, you're 100% right. This is the Gosling show, start to finish. You could pick out any number of scenes. The very first time that Russell Crowe shows up at his house and beats him up. Really,
that's my favorite scene.
It highlights, and the shriek he lets out when he gets his arm broken will live with me forever. It's so good. Don't put a fork in me. He's just, I mean, he's firing on all cylinders at that moment.
It is everything as well, because he's doing the slapstick, and it's very good. I mean, when he's rolling around getting the girl to shoot him, he launches himself off of that balcony. It's just a ridiculous piece of physical comedy. He's doing the slapstick, but there's the one-liners where he's snapping back at people. There's the side eye. It's the full gamut. It's a really good comedic performance.
Yeah, you've already talked about the toilet stall bit, which I don't know how many takes he did to do that, but it's just so well done. And then the dropping of the cigarette in there as well, just the door closing at the same time. That scene generally is really well done, just with the Crow's reaction to it as well, just like there's a mirror here, right? Yeah. So that
close your eyes.
The one thing I didn't pick up the first couple of watches as well is in that lift after they've gone up into the elevator for the rescue and then got back into it as the doors close, and Gosling just has this like little twitch of an eye, just like and then he does the then I think he does the Nazi thing, doesn't he? Or was that on the way up actually?
Did they do the Munich one?
I think the Munich's on the way up. Yeah.
You know, Hitler only had one ball.
And all the stuff you could pull out every time you go back to it, different stuff he does in the party scene, like when he's swimming with the mermaids
I love that bit.
in the tank is so good. And then when he's discovering Shattuck's dead corpse next to him, when he's, just unreal stuff right there. And also just got to give Downey Jr. a shout out for the goofiest cameo ever. Like, how do you get an A-lister like Robert Downey Jr. in there?
Yeah.
What about recasting for Ryan Gosling? Is there anyone that could do it? We've talked about Downey Jr. Is that something that he could have done? Maybe not in the same way, but could you put a Downey Jr. character in a Gosling mold?
No. Me and you have different opinions on Robert Downey Jr. I'm going to talk about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang again. So, Harry Lockhart is not like Holland March. They are not the same character at all. No. Harry Lockhart is very much like Robert Downey Jr. He is insecure to the point where it's pretty crippling, and he comes across as pretty pathetic. And as a result, things happen to him. They happen around him in that movie. Ryan Gosling with Holland March is doing almost the opposite of that, because he's so deluded in his own ability that he is driving this film forward in a way that Robert Downey Jr. does not and could not, because of those insecurities and the patheticness that comes across in his performance. And the joke, therefore, is, Ryan Gosling thinks he can do everything, and he's clumsy, he's a klutz, that's why bad things keep happening to him. And of course, the further joke is that he's actually quite good underneath it all. He's just not in the way he sort of, initially thinks. So I don't see Robert Downey Jr. as being able to do this sort of thing at all. I think it's a complete wrong role for him. Who could? I don't know. The answer I came up with on the podcast when we did it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is not to say that I've necessarily seen him in a role especially like that. The closest you're coming in terms of the comedic chops is going to be Third Rock from the Sun. The character he played on Third Rock from the Sun, that sort of like sarky, like snap, the delivering the chat back or whatever. And I could maybe see him doing it. I don't think he'd be as good as Gosling. It's a tough gig to recast that one.
I think if I were to recast that role, I'm going to sort of cheat the system and recast it in the era that the film is presented in the 70s. Mm-hmm. This kind of just popped in my head, and I've recently been watching some of his films for various things. I think Jack Lemmon has the dramatic and comedic acting chops to pull off the balance that takes. It's kind of a razor wire performance, and I think Jack Lemmon has facets of his acting skills that could mirror some of Gosling there. I do think the Russell Crowe performance is tougher to recast, to Carl's point earlier, where you have to be the straight man, which is relatively easy, but you have to have the physical tools to quickly turn into somebody who's believable in the role he's in, being tough, being able to take somebody down. That I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that one off the top of my head. Maybe something will pop in my head, but that's a tough one. Yeah,
I think I'd originally had Josh Brolin. Is what I mentioned for that. I don't love it,
no.
But again, I found this one again really difficult to recast.
I mean, we've already talked about Chinatown. Maybe if I'm thinking of like 70s Jack Nicholson, he could have probably done that. He's not the most physically imposing guy, but I could maybe believe him as being like tough as nails.
Yeah. Carl, do you remember who?
I mean, Josh Brolin was on my shortlist as well. I had kicked around the idea of Michael Rappaport for the bickering side of it. And obviously he's got the cop side of it down and all the rest of it. But it's not, it's as we said on that podcast, it's a tough one to recast because it's not a great part, but it is still Russell Crowe. Yeah. And you've got to try find someone to bring that same gravitas.
It says quite a lot, isn't it? That you just, even trying to recast a Russell Crowe in this is challenging. Whatever he's bringing and wherever he is at the moment, he does kind of embody quite a unique aspect to it and combination where you've got that kind of acting heft and you've got the physical heft as well. He put on some extra weight for the role as well, which I'm sure was a real chore for him.
You could tell how much he's such a kind of unique one-of-one actor in his career that they had a really difficult time with Gladiator. He wasn't obviously recast, but he was sort of, Paul Mescal was playing the basic same archetype, and Paul Mescal's a talented actor, but he does not pull off that performance the way Russell Crowe does in 2000. It's just hard to find somebody who can do what he does. He's got a very special skill set.
Anyone else you want to call out? Kid on the bike? Want to see my dick?
I don't want to do that joke.
I'll shout out Keith David, who, if he was born 20 or 30 years earlier, would have been a megastar in a different era. Like, if he could have played Shaft. I mean, he would have been like perfect in that sort of blaxploitation era. I feel like Keith David has sort of always been kind of a smaller bit part and secondary to so many films, but he's such a cool actor. Anytime he pops up in a movie, I'm like, oh, excellent, Keith David's here. I feel like if he was born in a different era, he could have been really hot stuff.
Yeah, has a fantastic death in this. His character is
so good. Yeah, it's good.
What about the John Boy, Matt Bomer?
Oh well, I mean that's Henry Cavill, isn't it? They look nearly identical.
Yeah, slightly slimmer version of Henry Cavill, basically, isn't he?
Yeah. Again, it's a tough one with that because he's such a nothing character. That one by design, right? This faceless assassin, and he does that perfectly well. But yeah, it's such a nothing character. I mean, I said again on our episode, talking about recasting our female Noah Cross, Ken basing his character. If I want a woman to really scare me, I'm going Tilda Swinton. If I want one that's perhaps a bit more classically noir, I'm going to go Julianne Moore. I think she'd have been very good in that role.
Yeah, I had a few options for that. So Sigourney Weaver, I thought, or Julianne Moore. But then I thought Sharon Stone. You could even get Sharon Stone in there, which might have worked and brought. Because I just don't think Basinger brought anything really.
I can only assume, is it just because of the whole LA Confidential of it all that he's pulled her in, because she doesn't feel like she fits the movie in any other way.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I think it's almost like a nod to that, isn't it? But yeah, she doesn't seem to fit. It's not her style. That she's not intimidating. She's not, doesn't elude like that hidden power so much either. Like,
I mean, you could say in a different film that makes her a good choice, right? Because villains aren't cartoon villains; they are real people who exhibit power through official channels rather than anything else. That's not this film, and it does feel a little bit like she's just patched in at the end. And it doesn't really work. I would say that's probably not her fault though. But there you
go. Muriel Telio, Misty Mountains. Did you recast?
I'm very happy with her. I wouldn't change a thing about her performance.
She's actually gone on from this and carved out a really interesting career doing in-depth character pieces in indie films.
That's not true, is it, Simon?
No, it's not.
No.
Let's move on to our final section, Mashflix and Chill. So based on what we've talked about today, are we happy with the proposed mashup?
I think it's a great mashup.
Well, so full disclosure, you'll have to remind me what our original plan was for the two movies, but I definitely think this version is better than whatever we had previously proposed.
So I've got some stuff down to talk about those because we did have them on graphics that we had out there. So we initially had Burn After Reading and Pulp Fiction. So Burn After Reading, they share an absurdity. I mean, you'd expect that because it's another Coen Brothers piece. They share that the people in over their heads chasing down something of a MacGuffin plot. There is no clear resolution at the end. I'd actually say that makes it have more in common with Big Lebowski because there is some sort of resolution in The Nice Guys in that classic noir way, in that the good guys lose. Burn After Reading and Big Lebowski, to your point, Andrew, no one knows. You wouldn't know. we don't know. Who won? Who was it? Oh, it doesn't matter.
The beauty of that movie is when J.K. Simmons at the end is just like, he has no fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah. Essentially, it's like, so we're all right then. Yeah, I think so.
He's great in that. I rewatched Burn After Reading in preparation for this just to see if it did how it did fit, and I definitely agree with Andrew. It's not as good a fit as what you've come up with here, it does share a lot of with the Big Lebowski. What about Pulp Fiction?
I mean,
what was your
just to round out the Big Lebowski? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the only other thing I would say from that is the use of pop music in Big Lebowski is brilliant, and Burn After Reading doesn't have that. So
No.
Big Lebowski, all round a better fit for that side of it. Pulp Fiction, we talked about how well put together The Nice Guys is from a sort of aesthetic pop culture point of view, music from the time, captured, building that nostalgia. That's Tarantino all over. Actually, arguably, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a better fit there. That come out the year before this?
After
was
it
it
after? It was more recent.
I think it came out in 2019.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah. So we that would be impure anyway. So we don't have to talk about that. Like I was pointing out, like details like the Yoo-hoo thing that really help say when and where we are, and Tarantino is all over that sort of thing. I honestly think actually the Big Lebowski does a pretty good job on that anyway. So yeah, we don't kind of need to go down that angle, and that leaves us with Lethal Weapon, which is doing the actual buddy cop thing so on the nose and so well. So yeah, that's what we had before. I'm pretty happy that what we've got now is better than those,
and it's pure. So the only other alternatives that I'd come up with, I agree. I think it could fit. Was the aforementioned Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It definitely feeds into Nice Guys because there's a lot of shared DNA, both from tone and kind of story beats. It's obviously another Shane Black. It is one of my favorite films to
I think we're gonna have to do this on the podcast, Simon. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think we might have to. It'll be a canon episode, I think. Now, I did think if we were going to do that, that would obviously bring quite a lot because it brings the buddy comedy bit already. It brings all of that. It's maybe just too similar to The Nice Guys to actually work in a mashup style for this, because then you'd have to have something that brought the 70s aesthetic. And the only one that I could really come up with that might fit would be like Boogie Nights, but then that doesn't really bring much else to the party apart from the aesthetics to The Nice Guys and a bit of porn.
I mean, I thought not to do too much of this. I've already spoken about it a bit. We will do a full episode on this. I think that character-wise, I actually think if you look at them, the characters are different between Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys. Plot-wise, it's hard to argue with, though. They are nearly a carbon copy in terms of plot and the plot beats. I think overall, I'm sort of with you. It's a more interesting, more fun mash to put on the family tree with Big Lebowski and Lethal Weapon than to put Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in there instead of one of those two.
I had flirted with the idea of some other like buddy cop movies, whether it was 48 Hours or Rush Hour or Beverly Hills Cop. There's a number of them you could pull from, but this one felt like the most true to form.
Yeah,
with the Shane Black of it all to put in there.
I did exactly the same thing, Andrew, looking through and came to exactly the same conclusion that you're just like, it kind of fits a little bit better than all those other options that you've got listed there. The plus side as well is that we get to now make up the Big Lebowski and make up Lethal Weapon. So I don't know if either of you have had any thoughts as to what two movies could make either of those two films. So Lethal Weapon. So I was thinking 48 Hours, the aforementioned that Andrew mentioned there, 1982, paired with First Blood, 1982. So you get the kind of broken lead guy, then you get the buddy cop element of it as well. It's pure to 1982 films feeding into 1987. Any thoughts on that one?
Don't hate it.
Yeah, the 48 Hours makes a ton of sense.
What about the Big Lebowski? So that's 1998. Now you could obviously go down Coen Brothers route for one half of it and cheat a little bit in terms of.
Well, the way I would go for this is I would try go stoner movie meets a more classic noir film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm thinking, when was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
That was 98.
No, that's the same year.
Yeah.
So if we want to go sort of the British equivalent to a stoner movie, You have With Nail and I.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's good.
And then you would need then some sort of noir element, you think? So I had originally paired With Nail and I with Fargo, 1996 Fargo, to get Big Lebowski. And obviously, it feels a little bit cheated just to go for the Coen Brothers film before to get to that. But it's classic Coens. It's classic like stupid things happening to stupid people, kind of thing. And then you've got the stoner element of it. It doesn't bring the noir piece. Well, no.
I like the With Nail and I choice though. That's a good one.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, we'll workshop that one. Have you got? Has either of you got any other crazy hybrid suggestions, or completely unrelated, that you just think I must get this out into the world?
No, I really want to do something with Home Alone and Skyfall.
Sure.
That sort of occurred to me the other day. I mean, that's not a new observation. You know, many
there's
people
the Home
have
Alone
said
element to Skyfall.
how Skyfall descends into Home Alone at the end.
Wow. Okay.
But I thought, hang on a minute. We have a game where we're picking up on exactly these sorts of things. So you'd need, another spy film to go along with Home Alone to make Skyfall. You could go with another James Bond one. That's maybe a bit too easy. But yeah, that'd be quite fun to put on there, wouldn't it? Home Alone going into Skyfall, because those films aren't alike, except apparently they are a bit. Let's go with The Bourne Identity. The Bourne Identity is an agent cast out from his agency, struggling with belonging in the world. Cross with Home Alone gets you to Skyfall. There we go.
Yeah, there's mummy issues in Home Alone as well, right? So yeah,
absolutely. So there's a good one to throw up for a discussion at some point.
So Bourne Identity, Home Alone equals Skyfall.
Yeah, there we go.
Love it. Well, that's a pretty good way to end.
I am sure what will happen for me now that I've done this is I will start thinking about this before bed, which is often what I do as I wind down. And I will probably be DMing you gentlemen at some point in the future.
Yeah, send them in.
Yes, please do.
With all sorts of random ideas, because that's how we all work. That's how our brain works.
That would be fantastic. And that goes for any guests that we have on here and anyone who would like to be a guest as well. Send in your suggestions and we're happy to talk. So, Andrew, just a huge thank you for joining. It's been fun and delighted to have had you on today. Now, you've got a lot going on. Is there anything you would particularly like to point to or promote that people should check out on your various content?
Well, I mean, you can find me anywhere there's a podcast out there. The Revisionist Almanac is the show. I'm on YouTube if you like the visual structure, which I'm a visual person, so I prefer watching people talk. You can find me on all the social media platforms, Rev Almanac, as Simon and Carl can attest to. I am very active on those, and if you reach out to me in a DM, you're probably going to hear from me pretty quickly. I'm always happy to talk to people on there. This will be coming out right at the end of season 2, and I've got just a jam-packed season 3 of various episodes, plus all the new stuff, as I mentioned, with the new big announcement, the podcast network. So just expect to see and hear a lot from me in every direction. I've got umpteen guest spots still coming, so,
Fantastic.
There's way too much of me already.
Oh, no, can't get enough. Get enough.
Thanks for coming on, Andrew. Great fun.
I always prefer UK podcasts, by the way. So thank you guys for that. Number 1, I like podcasting during the day. That's always a bonus. And number 2, you guys just bring a different energy than American podcasts. And
we say cunt, don't we?
It's the great British word that the States have not adopted yet. And one day we will get it over here. It's my wife's favorite word on earth.
That's telling. Okay.
Sounds like a good lass.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, Andrew. And as I say, we'll be back next month on the 8th of December with another Mashflix and Chill episode. You can also find all our previous Movie the Needle, Date Night Classics, monthly retro episodes on our feed. Please do like, follow, and all that stuff, whichever social channels you doom scroll on, and also check out Andrew at Revisionist Almanac. Next week on the 15th, we will release our latest classics collection episode as we leave the present, turn around to face the past, and then go in depth on Forward in Time, The Return. It's Back to the Future. Just
good.
all right. Thanks. Bye.